Hello everyone, and welcome to Christ and Ironworks. So in this video, I want to talk a little bit about, are you a one-dimensional blacksmith? What do I mean by that? Are the things that you're pursuing currently in your craft, in the hobby, or as a business, a one-dimensional thing? Is it a particular process and you kind of only do that type of process? Or is it a particular item and you only forge that type of item? Or is it just a whole genre of smithing? So let's say that be, Art Nouveau style blacksmithing, or if it's, sculptural or whatever, a particular genre of blacksmithing. Are you a one-dimensional blacksmith? So if you ask yourself this question, take a moment, ask yourself this question, and I'd like you to think about taking and asking this question of yourself when you participate in online forums and discussion in the world of blacksmithing. And the reason why this is important to know whether you are a one-dimensional blacksmith or not, or whether you are the type that you've undertook the study of many, many different disciplines amongst the craft of forging, is because it will give you a sense of how much knowledge you may or may not have about a particular subject that you're getting ready to take and comment on. So this happens all the time. Someone says, hey, this forge is the best. You say, no, it's not. Those are garbage. And then you bicker. And somebody might be able to prove that, no, this forge really is the best at doing this particular project. And you feel insulted by that. You feel insulted by your own ignorance, and so therefore you double down, right? We always, as human beings, we always double down on stupidity. I've done it, you've done it, everyone's done it. It's online, right? It's online at this point. That's how things are done in the mass communication channels that be. So, with that being said, what that ends up doing, unfortunately, with online arguments is eventually you will meet some of these good blacksmiths, decent blacksmiths, even poor blacksmiths in person, whether it be at a local gathering, whether it be at some event or venue that you didn't think that you would see them at, and you may not even know that you cursed Dragon Wizard 67's name. You may not know who it is that you're talking with after having this nasty public discourse about something that really doesn't matter. And so if I can roll this back into how you define being one-dimensional, is there are smiths that I know that they just make split crosses. That's it. They love it. It tickles them pink. It's all they've ever really wanted to do in smithing, and they're just pleased as punch. That's all they do. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's very one-dimensional, though. Because if that same person, they really love making these split crosses, they might even be the foremost expert on making the split crosses. If you're asking, well, hey, how about this 3-burner forge? I need a 3-burner forge in the context of I need some big space because I'm going to be making a large saber, say you're a knife maker. The guy that only has the experience with making small split crosses in a very small combustion chamber, they're very ignorantly going to most likely say, oh, you don't need a forge that big, it's just going to eat you out of house and home. And that's true, and although that would be true if they were just forging nothing but small little split crosses in that forge, that would be an accurate statement. But it's not. Again, that's on you to recognize whether you're coming at this from just purely your own perspective, or if you're coming at the discussion with a much broader understanding of the field of blacksmithing. Same thing goes. I know some mastersmiths, they're very good at what they do. They've been preaching a particular curriculum, or they've been preaching a particular way of doing things for decades. It does not make them wrong. It doesn't mean they don't have value and they can't add value to our lives. But they have one dimension of what they've been doing for their entire lives. That is also a one-dimensional smith. So hopefully you guys can see where this is going. Everything that you guys get into out there, out online, what you see on YouTube, you need to take it as education to feed yourself to try to not be one-dimensional in your approach and your study to smithing. Try everything. Study under everyone. Get as much learning, get as much schooling, take as much opportunity in this digital age that we have to progress yourself as far as you can in the smithing field, and don't get rutted and single-mindedly focus into one thing too quickly. I see it happen all the time with you new guys and gals out there. Yeah, it's the excitement of the craft. You're just getting into it for the first time, and you think, oh man, all I'm going to do is make knives. And 10 years later, you may still love making knives, but a lot of people, 10 years later, they're still making knives and they haven't progressed to anything. They're still making the same kind of knife, the same kind of handle, the same kind of pins, the same kind of sharpening, the same kind of everything, and yet they're still commenting on others' works that have learned different techniques and saying that they are bad or they're wrong because you've been doing something a certain way for a decade. So don't get locked into that and don't get too rigidized too soon. As we age and mature in anything, I don't care what career field you go into or what path you take or what hobby you do, eventually you get so comfortable in your own skin where you don't really care whether you've been doing it the wrong way for the last 35 years or 50 or 100 years. You're going to just keep doing it that way because it's comfortable and it's what you do in your shop. And that's perfectly okay. But recognize that when you go to comment sections, recognize that when you are engaging in public discourse with other smiths, because they might be coming at the same subject, but with a different light, because they have a different set of tool sets in their shop. They've had different, upbringing, as it will. They've had different instructors and tutelage, or maybe none at all, and give some grace and hear people out. That's one thing that I hope as a whole, the blacksmithing community, online and offline and in person and at blacksmith clubs, can do a better job at, is getting back to what SOFA's motto has always been in the past. And I'm going to quote them, creative and friendly. That's what type of environment the blacksmithing community should definitely be, and not get into too many tit-for-tat squabbles. Now, I'll point the finger on me. I have no problem addressing things like this and think I love the craft of smithing. I absolutely love learning all facets of smithing, and I love doing a ton of facets of smithing. My favorite is the Baroque ironwork, or the French Baroque period of ironwork. So that's what I mainly want to focus all my time on and attention to. And so I can be kind of one-dimensional in that way. But I have done everything out there under the sun, just about, except for some really large architectural pieces. I've done just about everything else. And again, I don't comment on people who've done large architectural pieces work because I wasn't there. I didn't do it. I have no business, getting in their lane. I stay in my lane and I comment with the things that I can feel like I can share with. So I don't have any problem doing that on this channel. And you guys will see that if you keep watching this channel for the many years and decades to come, that is just, I say what I mean and I mean what I say, and I just put it out there and, let the chips fall where they may. And so sometimes that means I will take a current unpopular opinion about something. Again, it's my opinion. It is what it is, right? And maybe through a few years, I might get re-educated on something and I might have a different opinion. I might hold a different opinion than what I did previously. I know I certainly hold a different opinion about some things that I used to feel very staunchly about when I was a young man, to where I don't feel so staunchly about them now. Being a bit older and being a bit more wiser. Hopefully a bit more wiser, but who knows? Who knows? So, but anyways, I just wanted to take and share that with you. Do not rob yourself of the ability to learn from others by staying in one lane and then blocking out all additional information just because it doesn't fit that lane's objective or where you're going. I know a lot of you knife makers out there could really benefit from taking a year-long course with an ornamental guy and vice versa. You know, knife makers in general are pretty detail-oriented people, pretty high detail, finessey kind of people, trying to get everything just right and look for straight and, you know, and really finicky bits with trying to glue handles onto steel and all this other stuff. And there's a lot of information that knife makers can contribute to the ornamental side of the thing. And then a lot of you knife makers could really learn how to put a point on the end of a bar from the ornamental side of the things on guys more efficiently. Because again, those two worlds, they exist in their own kind of little happy spaces where they have their own masters and they have their own, you know, their own set of values and where they're trying to achieve, what goals they're trying to achieve. But where they interlap, there's a lot of learning to be had and a lot of takeaways people can take from one another. So I hope I have encouraged some of you all out there that next time you're in a blacksmithing forum, that you try to take with open ears and open mind and open heart, try to understand where people are coming from, and maybe we can start changing that social dynamic in the blacksmithing clubs as well out there. So that's it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed my little mini rant here. We call them rants on the channel. They're not really. They're just an open discussion you know, of things that are on my mind and the way I see things. And feel welcomed, fully welcome to take and comment down below what you thought of the video and your own thoughts and takes on this subject. I greatly appreciate to hear them all. So thank you to all the channel members that make this content possible. God bless each and every last one of you out there, and hope you have a great rest of your smithing day.